Go.
Well, here we are at Capitol Reef National Park with the Entrada Institute, and we are going to do a demo. And I'm a watercolorist. My name is Gloria Miller Allen, and I would like to talk just a little bit about what plein air painting is to me. Plein air scared me for many years because I thought plein air painters had to paint things exactly like they were, exactly the color that it was. But I realized that you don't have to do that. You can be very creative. So that speaks to me. But my way of looking at skill when it comes to painting has three real skills that we all as artists want. One is being able to use photographic materials, photographic images to help us figure out what we're going to do. So using photographs as a jump-off place works really well. We all want that. We want to be able to paint from real life, and to me, that's what plein air painting actually is. It can be plein air painting in your living room, but it's painting not from a photograph. So the other thing is we all want the skill of being able to use our imagination. And you put those three things together, using photographs, using real life, and using your imagination, and then you start making some magic. So, I also wanted to talk about sketching outside. More often than painting outside, I sketch outside. I like to paint from sketches because it's just a little bit removed from reality. And that doesn't mean everybody should feel that way, but I like my things to not be really realistic. They tend to get that way sometimes, but I like to paint from sketches because it does one step, removes it from reality. And also, I wanted to talk just a little bit about sketching from photographs. This is a kind of a strange concept, but actually I do. I take photographs and then I do a drawing from the photograph and then I paint from that. So there's a lot of steps, but everybody comes across steps differently, and everybody has the way they want to paint. Now this, I can show you the way I paint. It's just a way to paint. It's not the way to paint. For every artist, there's a different way to paint. So all I can do is show you what I do. So I am a glazer, and so I rely on glazing. One layer upon another layer upon another layer. And I'm going to do a demonstration here with this little piece of paper and try to make it really, really fast. And we're going to start out with just coloring the whole paper. Because most classic watercolorists know that you want to save the whites. Well, we're not going to have any whites in this painting because it's going to be rocks. It's going to be this little thing, something similar to this. It won't be exactly like this, but there's no sky, there's no plants. It's just, I can do a painting but just by coloring the whole paper that peachy pink color. So that's what we're going to do first. And then we're going to consecutively build up layers of value. And we are going to, first of all, find the light. But first of all, we're going to color the paper. So let's do that. And I've been painting down here all week, and I've found that I use a lot of quinacridone yellow or gold, and a lot of ochre, and some purple, and some peachy red. Mix that together here and color the paper. Also, this gets out a lot of heebie-jeebies. And I like to do this on a slant so that the bead falls at the bottom of the page and runs down. You need a nice big brush to do this. This isn't a very big brush, but for this size paper, it's a quite big brush. See how the bead goes at the bottom? Let me change the color a little bit. Let's put a little yellow in here maybe. Now watercolors will dry light. We all know that, all you watercolorists out there. They'll dry lighter, so that's pretty light, but it's just the underpainting. So that is how I start probably 90% of my paintings, is by coloring the whole page. And if I'm going to leave white, then you have to have a drawing on to tell you where to stay out of. So this is kind of the beginning. Now, that granulation happens because this is a rough paper, and I love that granulation that happens when the paint settles in the pit of the paper. So if you tip it a little bit more, it settles in the pits more. If you tilt it more, it runs down and you don't get that granulation. But that has got to dry. So I did this one earlier that is dry. So for the sake of the demonstration, we can go a little bit quicker. So now what I want to do is I have, where's that little piece of paper? I had it here. Cut that little thing with the, here it is. This little piece of paper has the lights. You look at this, you see where it's going. So I have drawn sort of, I mean, it's not going to be exactly like, but I've drawn that on here. So this first layer is done. Second layer will be considered our second value, and that will be done rather quickly with a fairly big brush. And just one value darker, so that, now I've got my pencil line, I don't know if you can see it on that film or not, but I'm going everywhere, and I'm going to tilt it a little bit less. Is that still in focus? Because I don't want it to run so quickly down here, because I don't want it to run into the light patterns. So when you think about light, you know, artists always talk about light. Well, without light, you can't see anything. So the fact that you study light helps you to see things. So when you think about being a painter, you really do key in on light. So that's kind of staying off of the tops of those rocks. And as I recall, I'm going to put a big shadow. That's going to be, that rock will be over there, but that's going to be a cast shadow on that rock later. All I'm doing is leaving the lights. Now most watercolorists are very used to, as I said, leaving white. It's the same thing. And this is just a classic watercolor glazing technique. And again, I will say it isn't the way to paint, it's a way to paint. I'm going to put, I love to try to get as many of the shadows in as I can in this wash, just kind of where there might be divots and whatnot in that rock, just because it looks like it was all done at the same time, and I personally just enjoy that. So it's just a personal favorite way to do it. So I got a smaller brush because I'm getting in there closer. And sometimes a little spot will show up and it wasn't planned, but it can stay because it's working. when I get through with this wash, I will see if I like the shapes that it's making. And if I do, we'll go on. If not, I'm going to lunch. Now I'm going to just look at that, if I like the patterning that's happening. I'm going to have some more patterning going with consecutive layers, but I think it's okay. So I'm going to let it be. I don't like this rough edge that's there, so I'm going to still wet, get rid of it. Okay, now we'll let that dry for a few minutes. We're going for another value now. And I'm starting to add a little bit of purple in here just to darken that sienna a little bit. And I want to create the crevice and some spaces between these rocks. So this is, whoa, that is really darker. It doesn't need to be that much darker. So let's lighten that up a little. Kind of basically doing the holes. Let's make another rock here. See, it's going to be all in shadow. There's a rock there, and I'm going to lose that edge. I don't want that edge there. I just want that edge. Maybe there's another top of another rock right there. So I'll just leave that as a little history. So bring this value all the way through, just little bits, because it's just the little holes in between the rocks. And maybe another one right here. Yeah. And let's find the edge to this guy up here, this big guy. There has to be something there, so let's make it be a rock. We happen to be in rock territory. So, see, just thinking of values, thinking of design, thinking of little push-pull with the values. Now this rock is a little confusing. Let me see if I can find a couple of rocks in here. Look at that magic with this fourth value starting to happen. You can tell so much with just two values. And so when you give yourself a third, it's like, welcome. I don't like that long tail. I was thinking of having some light leaf on that side of the page, but I think I'll let that one do it. And I'm going to chop this rock off right there. And find that edge in the next layer. Okay. I'm running out of paint here. Staying very warm with these washes. This is faded out so much I can't even see it, so I'm going to go over that again. It's a goal to not go over it again, but oh my goodness, so many times I have to. So there's a little hint of a rock there, but I want to lose that edge with just clear water. All right, now let's go for that crevice. Let's make it let's make it as fast and smooth as I can do in one wash if possible. So I'm going to find there. This is a rock overhang, and then there's a big crevice back there. So this will be like the fifth. Is this the fifth layer? Maybe. Yes. Fifth layer. So let's find that crevice. What shape shall it be? Now, I'm going to tip this a little bit because I don't want I want the dark to stay up here on this. I want the hard edge here, so I'm going to let the water bring it down there. See, if I had it the other way, I want this edge right here to be powerful. And I don't want it to end right there. I'm going to bring it over here a little bit so that rock is not, so we don't have a tangent there. Now, while that's still wet and letting all that run down where I want it dark, I've got just water on my brush, and I'm going to try to lose this edge. I waited almost too long, but we'll get it, because I want that to be a soft edge. Okay, we found the crevice, and I want to accentuate, this is kind of not real descriptive of what's happening there, so I want to make a little bit more back under this ledge. And then I'm going to lose this edge on this side. And at the same time, find that edge to that rock. It was kind of stripedy. You know, all this whole area was a little bit, had stripes in the rocks, which were quite charming with the swooping. And then this guy does not want to be there, does he? He just keeps not showing up. So let me try again. See if I can darken that so he'll show up. Let's try it one more time here. Put a little dark. There. He's there. I don't know how it's a he. Okay, and now I'm just going to dance my brush around a little bit. Picking and choosing where to put a few little darks, and then we're just going to call it. But let me see if I can make a crevice over here, which was really dramatic. But I think I didn't leave myself enough space to do it. So I want to just do a little one. Cut that rock off a little. Okay. All it needs is a little petroglyph right there. Okay, I'm going to call it. I think we're done. Time to shoot the artist. All right, there it is.